It's hot. I've had a really long day. And I actually missed the whole Biden VP pick announcement. I mean, I guess it's who we expected, which I guess was why I was a little bit surprised. She's a terrible pick. I'm just phoning it in. Um, she did 7% in California. That's her, her home state. Um, she just comes off as like really fun. Like I don't know anybody who's like, yeah, Kamala. Like it's even worse than Joe, because like Joe's got the Obama administration and that kind of reverence among the left. Kamala, it's just like, yeah, she would have like clips and stuff where she'd be like, waxing prophetic and stuff about the in Senate and usually beating up straw men, and then people would cheer. I'd see those videos occasionally, but like during the primary, man, she was insufferable. Oh my god, even SNL was like, they really turned the screws with her. That like she's very self-important, very phony. Um, I don't get his logic. I saw the DNC what was it, speaker lineup, and I saw that and I was like, okay, well that means it's one of two people. It's either going to be Kamala Harris or Tammy Duckworth, and I thought Kamala Harris might be the ruse, and he was actually going to pick Duckworth, and they're both horrible, and Duckworth is horrid, um, not a good lady, but she's not known, so us people paying attention, we know Duckworth is awful. But if you're kind of the average middle of the road voter who's just kind of baffled by watching what's going on, you probably don't know Duckworth, and then it becomes the problem of basically any criticism that goes her way, and like the fact that the right already hates her. They'll just say, well, it's just because she's racist, and then or it's not she's racist. They'll say it's because they're racist or something, or because she's a woman and she's a disabled veteran. How dare you? How dare you complain about her? And then there's also like there's stolen valor rumors floating around, and it's always I'm always suspicious when I see stuff like that. I mean, Democrats they do. Blumenthal, like he's a good example of stolen valor. Guy's totally full of shit. And the Democrats keep electing him. It's because for whatever reason the Democratic Party plays really good interference, and they're really good about dropping rumors and stuff like that are outlandish, and they'll provide a little bit of evidence for it, and then like basically it's opposition research against their own candidate, and maybe it's something where there's no there, but they'll float enough of it where people will look at it and say it, and then they can say, oh, it's ridiculous. It's kind of like the rope-a-dope with the birth certificate, right? So, Barack Obama says in his book he was born in Kenya. He's presented in many other contexts as being from Kenya. He goes to college on a scholarship from as a basically as a foreign student. So it's like a foreign student scholarship from Indonesia, which is confusing as it is. And then all of a sudden, he says, no, just kidding, born in America. And it's like, okay, well, that means you're either a liar now or you're a liar then. So that's bad. But what he did, which was smart, was I should say smart politically, not honest. He just held his birth certificate back. It's like, well, you could clear this up by just showing the birth certificate so that we know you're not lying now and you were lying then. And then the solution to that is you're a racist to question it. And Duckworth, I imagine, is probably the same thing. I don't know if she actually, I don't know if the stolen valor claims with her are legitimate or not. I think she's kind of a piece of crap, so I don't know. It's almost like you want to believe it because you think she's, if you think she's horrid. But that doesn't mean she is. You have to be very careful with that kind of stuff. Because it's, if it seems too satisfying for it to be true, it's probably something you got to take a second look at. But like Duckworth would have been a much better choice because she doesn't have the baggage. Abrams was a bad choice because she was an embarrassment. this weird Scientologist lady, probably just because Scientology, that's poison. That like they're one of the least popular groups in terms of like general public. Um, I mean, you could say she's a member of like a supporter of Hezbollah or something, and that would she'd still be more popular than, oh, you're part of the Church of Scientology. So I forget. Sticks just mentioned her name. I watched Sticks' video before this because I just wanted to hear what he had to say, so I made sure I didn't like repeat myself. Yeah, this is lame. It's not tactically exciting. It's not infuriating. It's just like she's terrible. She's no, we don't like her. Nobody likes her. The far left doesn't like her because she was basically an overzealous prosecutor. The right doesn't like her because she's the reason why people hate the police, because she's corrupt. And I don't know. Like she does have a lot of baggage though. I mean, so there's basically there's kind of two choices you have going in. You can pick somebody who's basically been vetted and like a lot of the op research has already been done, and that means the person you take them as they are, but it probably can't get any worse. Or you could choose somebody who's an unknown, and the advantage to the unknown is that they don't carry all the baggage of having been in the spotlight and said things and done things like Harris has. But it'll be harder for them to do op research, but if they do, there might be a skeleton in that closet that just sinks the whole thing. So it's like a risk reward. And usually if you're gonna pick somebody who you ran against, you want to pick somebody who either got knocked out so early that nobody remembers that they ran, like oh, they were in the race, like that kind of person. I'm trying to remember. Was it Carrie Edwards was a good example of something like that. Or you pick somebody where essentially you're taking the two pieces of the party and you're forming a coalition. So even if you both hated each other, you have enough clout with each other's sides to say, okay, let's get done what we need to get done. That's risky too, and that's actually not very good in terms of reform parties. Like if you're trying to be the change, because it makes you kind of seem desperate. But it's it does happen. That's not completely uncommon. So but this Harris, it's like she's stuck in the primary. It's the worst of both, because it's like she's stuck around long enough to be nasty and to have like a lot of really damaging things said about her by other people, particularly like Tulsi Gabbard. And she also stuck around long enough to say a lot of nasty things about the person who is nominated, Biden. And she was unpopular, but she still stayed in the race for like a really long time, so everybody remembers her during the primary. There's countless clips of her at the debate, saying stupid stuff that's going to be unpopular. It's like almost like she's kind of the worst choice. She's like an establishment choice. Like they're just like, we're comfortable. Like it's her turn. Like she's cashing in a favor. I don't understand what their strategy, because normally you see there's like a strategy to it, and usually they'll pick like maybe the whole like I'll be picking a woman of color. Maybe that was the screw up, because I would have said like he's probably going to be looking at Klobuchar or Gillibrand. Like Gillibrand would be a good example, right? Gillibrand, she was actually a pretty decent opponent in terms of like she was a lot quicker witted. She was harder to pin down, and she did run in the primary, but nobody remembers that. Like if he had picked Gillibrand, I'd be like, oh, did she, like you're not thinking like, oh yeah, she was a primary person. So you would have had that advantage. And I thought he was going to do that, or he was going to do, I thought he was going to pick somebody who was like shadow establishment, like they want to be the next Hillary Clinton, but they just they haven't killed enough people yet. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but like with Jill Debrand, like a swine, Dianne Feinstein, but like not when she's not hard and old, somebody who's more younger and still the wine swilling type. But I was thinking they'd be somebody who was lower profile. Like Kamala Harris like fits the bill in terms of like corrupt, power hungry, but she doesn't fit the bill in terms of like low profile. I it's weird. It's almost like they're trying not to win, and I don't know what they're trying to do. Sticks was saying like, maybe it's a bone they're throwing to the middle, like they're trying to court the moderates, and it's like the moderates. She went pretty far left on a lot of stuff during the primaries. Like she if she was going to be appealing to the moderates, she wouldn't have lost as bad as she did. And you're telling me Joe Biden, like the milquetoast of all candidates, like the most boring and moderate, like that was his whole shtick. So you're saying, oh well, that didn't stick, so then we got to pick somebody else who's a moderate. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that's the reason. And on the far left, like they hate her because she's she was a prosecutor. Like she's kind of everything they hate except that she's in their camp. But she's like one of those people who, like, the city's burning down and she'll appease the rioters and yell at the feds and give a chance to accelerate herself, politically. That's pretty much what she's done her whole life, I mean, how many people did she throw in jail for, marijuana and stuff like that? And then, when it's convenient, she's laughing about it on a radio show, pretending she used to smoke it and listen to Tupac as 2 years before Tupac actually released an album. It's nonsense. She's really phony, and she comes off really phony. In clips, she's not as bad. I should say the deception holds a lot better in little tiny sound bites. But anybody who's ever seen an extensive interview with her, which she's going to have to be basically carrying most of the weight for Joe, because Joe's demented and in a basement. She comes off really, really phony. She rubs people the wrong way. She rubs everybody the wrong way. So are they just surrendering and they're just like, whatever, we're just going through the motions at this point? Do they have another plan? I mean, I thought he was going to pick like a Hillary Clinton and be like, yeah, well, at least I'll get those angry people back, something like that. Like she at least brings money, right? I mean, she's pretty well hated by the far left and the right, so but at least it was like, at least you got a benefit for that. I don't see any like positives for Kamala, because I mean it's not the worst pick he could have had. There was a lot of people on the short list who were like, oh god, you're trying to commit suicide. But this is almost like, instead of having his campaign just explode and go down in the glorious flames, it's more like just watching a boat sink slowly. You're like, oh, they put another hole in the boat. Okay. It's not exciting, It doesn't, like, I would have preferred that from a analyst standpoint, because then you got a lot more to say. But in this case, it's like everybody knows Kamala. Everybody hates her. We know she's obnoxious. I mean, I'm sure the media is gonna like white knight super hard for her, and just whatever whatever the defense can be, whatever the lie is to cover up her lie or whatever. Just assume it's going to be out there. The media is scrambling right now to figure out how they can paint her as some sort of I don't know. Are they going to do are they going to try to do the whole Law and Order thing? Because I don't think you're going to convince the moderates that Kamala is a Law and Order candidate, anything but an opportunist. The far left really hates her. I've seen. I didn't expect that. Like I saw a lot of vitriol from the far left against Kamala during the primary. Like in terms of like Bernie's fans, who did they hate the most on that stage? They hated Kamala, which was a little surprising, but then again, like, she rubbed me the wrong way. She was pretty annoying on the stage. I mean, he screwed himself. He should have chose somebody like a Buttigieg or something, because then he would have had to have, because then you get the optics of getting, Buttigieg have to debate Mike Pence or some shit, and then, they get to declare victory no matter what. Because, they're really sticking it to Mike Pence. Who could give a shit if Buttigieg is gay or not? And Buttigieg, again, like, yeah, he's got absolutely no experience. He's not a good mayor. He's not any, like, he's just a typical, cooked up Democrat rising star. But he also doesn't really have any baggage. So you would have hey, look, I got a gay guy with me, and I get to juxtapose him against Mike Pence. And for whatever reason, like the moderates love that. They're just like, oh my god, it's so brave, it's so stunning and brave. Um, Kamala, it's like you're gonna get this kind of like nice, genuine guy who's a family man and calm and collected and like the yin to Trump's yang. Um, and you've got Kamala Harris who just is like the like grating. I mean, people can't stand Joe Biden because he just like rambles about weird stuff and he says weird stuff and like he kind of he baffles people and he embarrasses himself. And even if you just pass it off as oh he's a gaffe machine, but he's totally lucid, right? Even if you just pass that off, if the alternative is having to listen to Kamala Harris who like self-aggrandizes and just comes off really phony. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe they're hoping like this might be a sign that they actually are legitimately afraid of actually losing the black vote, so they're just panicking. They're like, okay, we're gonna pick, we got to pick a black running mate. You wait and see. They're gonna start comparing the Biden Harris ticket to the Obama Biden ticket. That's what they'll say. It'll be like, oh, passing it off to the next generation. It's a biracial ticket or something. They'll play that up. They'll say like, like it's somehow part of the legacy of I don't know. Nobody's going to care this time. It's like the first time they did it, everybody was like, oh, wow. And now that they're doing it again, you're just like, I just did this already. We don't care. And we really don't like Kamala. I don't know if the black community likes Kamala or not either. Like, I don't know. I'm not in. I mean, I see black conservatives all the time. They really don't like her. And a lot of it just has to do with the phoniness. And also the fact that she's like super heavy into the nonviolent crime prosecutions. She's the same thing with gun crime. Like she's an like, or I should say gun laws. Like she's an absolute animal when it comes to enforcing stuff that's inconsequential and unconstitutional just to throw people in jail for basically exercising their Second Amendment. She's one of those people who will basically release like the looters. They've got like a social justice reason for doing what they're doing, but God forbid you buy hollow points or something, or your magazine holds 11 instead of 10 rounds, and then oh man, you're going to jail like you're some kind of terrorist. That's how Kamala is, and everybody that rubs the left off, the left right. I mean, I wonder if this whole thing is going to be. Because there's the whole thing about, like, with the prison corruption, how basically they were getting kickbacks to basically fill the prisons to get the labor. Maybe it's because that was actually going to break, and now, this kind of protects her from that. Because one of the other things that's worth mentioning is that when you pick somebody, it also makes, although they have baggage, it makes the bigger accusations, I should say the more shocking accusations, what you can say immediately, say, oh, it's politically motivated. So basically by the DNC picking Biden, you don't hear the media at all talking about the Biden-Ukraine stuff, even though that was super stacked and super, like, it was clearly, like, super corrupt, like that's a major thing. It's probably disqualifying, and he might actually deserve to go to jail for that, and they're still looking into it. But now if you bring that up at all, they just say, oh, it's partisan. And you can do that if the media is backing you up. I mean, they spied on President Trump when he was a private citizen, and then when he was basically entering the White House, like they broke all kinds of laws. But because, if you say, hey, we want to investigate the investigators because it seems like there was abuse here, they say, oh, that's completely political. How dare you? Because it's, and as long as the media runs interference, there's not much you can do. It's hard to get the message out to the general public when the left is in like total denial of. I mean, just go ahead, ask your average person with TDS about the Biden Ukraine scandal. Like, ask them, what's it about? But they have no clue. They'll within the first sentence they'll say something about Donald Trump or something and prostitutes and bed pissing or something. Like they'll just go on. It's like they have no idea. So if he had picked like Susan Rice, right, who's tied into that stuff, then if the Durham report comes out and says, yeah, she committed basically major felonies and she probably needs to go to jail, they would just say, oh, this is completely politically motivated. Because they'll throw people under the bus when they need to, when it's inescapable. But if you've already elevated that person, then basically anytime any kind of truth comes out, they just say, well, that's just a lie just to hurt them because they're so and so. It's frustrating, I mean, Republicans is basically like someone accuses you of writing something in a yearbook and then you have like a really clumsy defense of it, whether it's true or not. They sell you out the river. You're done. They torpedo you. They're afraid. They're like, wow, okay, most things suggest this isn't true, but in case it is, I'm either people stay home or they just basically the support structure is pulled out from under them. They're not good at dealing with that kind of stuff. Except for Donald Trump, who just basically is like, yeah, warts and all, screw you. And that was, I think, why he was so refreshing, because having a Republican actually fight for themselves, that made people, that was exciting too. I know it's a boring thing to be excited about, but it's a big deal to the right because we just haven't had that kind of person running for office ever. It's so rare. When on the left, it's like not only do they come out and accuse you of accuse the accuser of doing something for political reasons, even if it's completely unrelated, the media will run cover for them. So, I mean, here's all my reasons why I expected them to pick somebody else. Now with Kamala, unless the prison scandal is actually about ready to explode, I don't see the point in choosing. And also, that doesn't, she seems like a perfectly easy person to sacrifice. It's a California senator. Oh no, what happens if she gets removed? They put another handpicked Democrat in. They lose nothing. They're not. Kamala Harris's seat is not going to flip red. So I don't know. Again, this is whatever. I'm speculating, but I don't know what the reason of picking her is. Oh God, did you see the phone call he made to Kamala? To tell her, and I don't know if they don't realize that cameras have high resolution now or not, but you could see right in front of him he had the whole script of what he was trying to say typed out, and typed out in letters to read off what he was saying. I keep a notebook with me, and sometimes I have little notes on screen. But if I was gonna call somebody and I was like, okay, I gotta talk about this and this, because I do that, because I gotta talk to my artist or something. I gotta remember what the hell I'm supposed to talk to them about. I'll put the little bullet points, but you don't write out exactly word for word what you're gonna say. But he did that for her. And they were trying to make, and again, they're trying to make it look authentic and not staged. And Kamala Harris is the worst actress ever. And you see that, and you're like, Joe, that's it's starting to feel like elderly abuse at this point. I mean, in some ways, he made his own bed, but it's also it's just sad. I hope the average person can see it, because I know the people I see online who are like, yeah, Kamala, they're the average TDS person, they have no idea what's wrong with Joe Biden. They have absolutely no idea that he's completely he's not there. He's suffering from dementia. I should say not everybody on the left is like that, because plenty of people have TDS and they're like Bernie bros and they just sort of burn everything down. They hate him too. So I don't know. Kamala doesn't appeal to anybody. I don't know anybody who was like, well, I wasn't on the Biden, I wasn't riding with Biden until Kamala got in. I don't know anybody. I know people who are going to be turned off by her being the pick. I don't know of any demographic pick that's going to say, yeah, she's the one. I mean, I guess if you're a racist and you got to have somebody who's black on the ticket, that's important to you for, racist reasons. Okay. I mean, I guess that, but how many people those people are there, I gotta believe there's less of them than there are back in 2008 who thought that, oh yeah, the race actually is important, because then you got 8 years of Obama and then the black community is doing worse than they've ever done. So like I know a lot of blacks who have basically they were just robotic Democrat voters because that's just what you did, right? You were black, of course you voted for who they told you they were going to vote for, and then they just broke away from that. They're like, wait a minute, this all sucks. I'm gonna vote the other way, and those people like. It's kind of like when you meet somebody who's like converted to Christianity or converted to whatever religion from something else, and they are way more authentic and enthusiastic about it than like somebody who's just been like Catholic their whole life. Like they're just like whatever. But somebody who's like converted, man, it's like they're all about it. Like they understand it and they know what the other side looked like. And I found that that's a lot of like recent black conservatives in like the walk away movement. It's wild, and I'm here's the thing. I'm calling them black conservatives. It's not even a conservative thing. It's just a like opening your eyes and realizing the Democrats are they're just using you as vote cows. That's what they're doing. They're there to scare you, and then when there's riots and your neighborhood's being burned down, they're not going to come to help you. And it's a lot of people are figuring that out. I mean, it's it's a cultural problem. That's been an issue since as long as I've been alive. I just always it just that was just what you expected. You're like, well, okay, well if black, there's a 90% chance they're going to be voting for Democrats. I don't know why, but maybe it's like probably like a city thing, I guess. But then it's now it's like that's not. They're completely that's completely shattered now. Even with the Trump election, I think he got like 16-17% of the vote, which is unheard of. I mean, Romney got what, like 6? Like bad, right? And Trump, nobody got like 16-17%. This time around, he stands to double that. And if he does double that, it's over for the Democrats. It's done. So I don't know. I mean, they should really they should be doing polls of, if they haven't done this, I'll be surprised, but they should look at black middle-of-the-road voters, people who haven't decided either way, how Kamala Harris polls with them. And that's, basically if they want to stop, like, because that's a really big threat to their gains is essentially Trump sniping, 40%, 35%, 50% maybe of, the black vote, which is like they just assume that's part of the blocks they get. That's just how they calculate their numbers, and that disappears. Everything they're calculating is off. So maybe they're afraid of that and they're trying to shore it up. But like I don't know like anybody who's I don't know who Kamala is popular with. Like, is she popular with black moderates? I don't know. Or it's not really black moderate. It's black undecided. People who just don't know, like is she going to convince more people to go vote who are either just writing it off or just not voting, or don't know, aren't paying it? Like I don't know what she adds to the ticket. She doesn't seem like she adds anything. So whatever. Went on too long, but this is a boring choice.